Good morning, good afternoon, or good night. Welcome to the Dextego Playbook Show, where every month we talk about ways you can level up your sales game with AI while keeping it human. Today, I'm here with Miles Kane, five-time early stage GTM leader and currently VP of Revenue at Data Lane. Welcome to the show, Miles.
Thank you, Augusto, so much for having me. Excited to be here.
Oh, it's our pleasure. Thank you so much for being here with us. And I have a couple of questions prepared so we can understand how we can mix sales and AI, and of course, keeping it human. So let's start off with the first question. What is an example of an AI workflow that saved your reps time and improved buyer experience?
Geez, so many ideas I have there. I think if I take a step back and where AI is today and how it's helping sales, the first thing I think about is speed, whether it's speed to researching your TAM, speed to building out your account list, figuring out your buyer personas, helping you with initial outreach. There's still a ton of work that is on the human element of sales that I firmly believe is never going away. And I know we'll talk about that today. But yeah, leveraging AI from a speed perspective, getting into the market, getting your outreach down as quick as possible, getting responses back to customers. I'm a firm believer in the concept that time kills all deals. And once you finally put so much work and effort into getting a buyer's attention, they have questions, you need to chase them up with answers. The quicker and the more you can shorten that gap of time back to a customer, it's a better buying experience. It holds their attention. It allows them building trust with you as a seller as well as your company as a potential vendor. So there's tons that AI can be done there to help out.
Yeah, that is fantastic and so true. Timing is the most crucial thing, I guess, in sales, right? Can either have a bad pitch, a good or bad product, but if you are right at the right time, it doesn't matter. That's why
True.
some bad reps can close some deals because sometimes it's a
You could,
perfect time, right?
so sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. That's certainly a true thing.
100%, 100%. And that brings me to another question, Miles. I've seen that you have managed both season AEs, new SDRs. How do you use AI coaching different for each case?
Yeah, it's interesting. I think, to me, coaching is a ongoing process, whether you're 1 month into your career or 15 years. I think the best sellers really want to hone their craft over many, many years, and they understand that this role is constantly changing. No greater, it's changed so much just in the last year, and I'm sure the next couple of years it's going to change even more. But when I think about the kind of the pendulum of early stage career folks versus the later stage, when I think about the up and coming SDRs or people that are just getting into sales, I would almost go as far as to say as like minimizing as much as possible the AI side and emphasizing as much as possible the human element, the one-to-one coaching, because there's so much that goes in for the early stage SDRs where, let's face it, like SDRs, they get that job. They may or may not know that this is actually the career they want to do, right? Like for me, almost 20 years ago, it's crazy to say, but I got my first sales job and it was a bit of luck and timing and circumstance and, getting to know who you know in the industry. I didn't really know that first couple of years. And like, this was very much pre AI in a lot of ways. I'm going to sound like the old guy here for a minute, but I had mentors that took the time to listen to my calls, to give me real time feedback. We would jump into a side room and do mock role plays before a big demo or closing call. And so the earlier stage of the career, to me, it's that human element. You have to spend more time there. Later stage AEs that have, kind of been there, done that, and proven their worth. It's not to say that you don't want to spend as much human time there, but that's where I think AI can really help, especially in scaled organizations where you might have 20, 50, 100 reps now on a national or a global scale, where just from a practical standpoint, you can't actually be there for all the calls or to spend as much time. But now you can start to use AI at a scaled basis to listen to 10, 20, 50 calls for you at a time and distill down those key points as to, are we nailing our discovery? Are we digging deep enough into pain? Are we understanding current state, future state, and what that gap is? All the different things. Are we testing our champions early? That's where AI can really help you with scale and with the more veteran folks, because you still want to deliver coaching to them, but I just think it can be done at a different scale with the veterans.
Yes, well, that is so good. First, with the new hires, it's literally like raising up a kid. It's gonna
Sure.
go. Oh, I don't know what I want to do. I don't know what I go where I don't go to college. If I'm gonna be an account executive, customer success, marketing. But yeah, gotta be there. Gotta be that mentor. At least use AI for AI things, be a human for what it needs to be a human, right?
So true. So true.
And with the most experienced account executives, how are you actually being able to implement a little bit of those AIs? Because sometimes old dogs are hard to learn new tricks, right?
It's true. Yeah, I think it comes back down to the hiring process and when you're first starting to talk to candidates and understanding what motivates them. Like where are they at in their career and what, do they still have that drive to get better? To me, the best people that I've ever worked with, they've got 10, 20, 30 years of experience, but they still feel like it's day zero and they want to learn. And like those are the types of people I want to surround myself with. Sure, you're going to get some folks that come into the org and are a little bit more of the know-it-alls, and you got to kind of work through the people element of that. But to me, it all starts early on, ideally in the interview process, to make sure you're attracting the right types of candidates for your organization. But then once they're in seat, a big part of a manager's role is to spend the time to really understand, again, like on a personal level, where are they at in their life? Like what's motivating them? Sales is a hard role. We spend 50, 60, 70 hours a week, depending on your role, getting told no the majority of the time, right? Like, we always use the analogy of a great baseball player is, they get out 7 out of 10 times and they're still a Hall of Famer. Like sales, it's even worse, right? Like we get told no 9 out of 10, but if you're consistent about it and you're really in it for the long haul, you can make your numbers, you can build a great career, right? And so it's not for everyone, and it's for the right types of people who are entrepreneurial, who are curious, who are just competitive. They have that overwhelming fire in the belly. They want to continue to compete and win and grow. Those are the people you want to surround yourself with. So it's not easy to do. The people management side of sales, it's a big challenge.
Man, you just gave me goosebumps. That's literally what my one of my best managers I had in the past when I was a BDR some years ago. She was like, just think about baseball, great Hall of Famers under 0.3. So, you can you still can do it. If just
Yeah.
need that inner fire and if you have growth mentality, as you mentioned, with the most experienced AEs as well, that is what I'm searching every call I have with a candidate is if they have that. And you mentioned a little bit on how you use AI on the onboarding process, but can you tell a little bit more on how has AI changed the way you think about onboarding new hires?
Yeah, the theme for today is probably going to come down to that one word speed that I mentioned before, but really in onboarding too, same thing, right? Like again, I think about even just a couple of years ago, without having the technology that we have at our fingertips now, it feels as though like the pre-22 era, we were kind of walking in cement in terms of like speed to market, speed to learning, onboarding new reps, getting to, your prospecting and working your deals. Now it's just like there's just no excuse not to move really fast. And it's not to say you're not going to expect new hires to come in and be an expert in your product or space overnight, but like no longer one of my first questions that we're interviewing right now at Data Lane, and one of the things I'm listening for and hoping that reps are coming to the calls with is how they are using AI in their day to day now. And the first one that I like to hear about is just the call it AI native. I call it like default AI, but it's just like when you have a question, which as you're a new hire in the company, one of my only rules I have with new hires is you better be asking a million questions. And before AI, it used to be like they're going to call me, Slack me, talk to me in person. Now it's a case of like, come to me and say like, hey, here was my 15 questions. I went to our AI source that we have. I asked it all first there. I got this far with my own knowledge and my own, fact finding mission, if you will. And then we can kind of level up from there. What are those gaps? But yeah, the just like the ability to internal search, external search, listening to recorded calls, like distilling it down into what are the key value props. Like there's just no excuse not to be able to, not to say they should be onboarding by themselves, but there's just so much that you can be self-taught now if you've got that motivation and that drive to be great.
Yes, I couldn't agree more. I think that when I say like my demos or with my BDR team is like, if you guys don't have any questions, that is the problem. So please,
Exactly. Exactly.
ask all the questions. Yes, I think that is actually one of the things we have on our onboardings is try to do your own research first.
Yeah.
We have all the tools to do that. Just type in, see if you find it, and then if you don't, and if that answer is a bit, old, it's not updated, then we confirm with the rest of the team. But we can
Exactly.
always try to
And
search and do it for ourselves. Right?
And like I said, I always come back to the hiring process because like once they're in the door, it's like, okay, you've made your decision, you got to double down and make this person successful. But how can you, from a hiring perspective, how can you de-risk that? And again, like I just had a candidate yesterday, we were on an interview and she came to the call and said like, hey, I've done my research. I have a high level understanding of your value prop, and I think these are some of your competitors. I'd like to talk through what I've found and get your feedback. Amazing, right? Because it's a sign that they're going out there, leveraging the technology. They're not at our company yet. Hopefully, we'll sign this person. But yeah, having that type of entrepreneurial mindset, knowing that literally the world's information is at your fingertips, no more so than today. So having those people versus sitting back and saying, "Oh, somebody's going to come and train me and coach me." It's like, yes, we will, but you've got to be, sprinting forward first.
Yes. Oh man, that is so true. Well, if somebody does that on the interview process, come on, that is
It's a good, it's a
a
good sign.
whole difference. It's 1 in 100 it's gonna do that.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. It's so easy, but you're right. I mean, there's this line getting kicked around on LinkedIn these days that execution is the only moat that's out there. And I completely agree. It's like everything else is given away, all the secrets, it's all out there, but who can execute? That's the thing. And it's the 1 in 100 people that will actually do it.
Yes, yes, 100%. AI is helping us do a lot of coaching or changing the ways as managers manage teams. So, what is the number one thing that you used to coach manually that AI is handling better and in your case, faster as well?
Yeah, I think it's the like, because when we think about most of my background is in enterprise sales, and enterprise sales can mean many things to many people, but let's call it, 6 month plus long sales cycle, 6 figure, 7 figure, 8 figure type deals. So it's really hard to kind of break down in real time as to like where are we at? What are the gaps? What do we need to do next? Because a 9 month long sales cycle is really a series of dozens and dozens of micro selling events that the rep has to do and really play the quarterback role, the orchestrator. They're bringing in multiple people, they're multi-threading, they're going on site, they're hosting a ton of online stuff. So all of that's to say, like, it can be really messy, and all of a sudden you fast forward a couple of quarters and this deal that you had that was supposed to be a 500K deal falls out of your pipeline. And then I've been in the rooms where there's just a lot of finger pointing that's going around where it's like, well, my champion said this and this person said this. But like where AI is so great now is like AI has no emotion, right? And so like if you have AI with you on every single meeting, ideally, right, in person or online, there's bound to be, and I've just, we as humans we get distracted, right? And if you're on a Zoom call or in person with 8, 10, 12 different people, there's side conversations going on, or you might cover 15 different topics in a 90-minute, whiteboarding session that you're doing to or trying to pitch your customers. Having AI in your back pocket to just scan it in real time afterwards and uncover, like you can train and tune these models now to map to your sales process, whether it's a MedPick or Sandler or you name it, and it's just going to come back and surface up those risks in real time. And so, like, gone are the days of like, geez, did we really dig into the metrics, or do we know who the economic buyer is, or what's their decision process, or whatever it might be, like, which part of the process is the gap? AI is there to help you. So it's just like, it's absolutely a game changer.
Yeah, that is beautiful to hear. It's literally you can be your best version and there's no excuses.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I'm seeing here that with your experience, you've been through a lot, and there's a big difference between the past work that we did, before the pandemic, and the work we're doing nowadays. As you mentioned, we're like in cement, right? There's
Mhm.
there's nothing going on. What does a high performing AI augmented, or you can say AI by default, or a sales org look like to you?
I think the sales orgs of the future, I think there's many different metrics that you can think about as to pinpoint like who are the best sales orgs, and like how do we get there. But the one metric that jumps out to me that is what I would call what percentage of time your reps are actually spend selling versus doing everything else. And again, like in an enterprise model, you're sourcing contacts, you're sourcing deals, you're prospecting, you're doing your demos. There's lots of non-selling activities that do go on in your day to day. And right now, I think the industry standard is something like 25% of a rep's day is actually spent meeting with customers and selling. And it's kind of crazy when you think about it. Call it a 8 to 10 to 12 hour day. That just means they're actually only selling and driving new deals forward a couple of hours a day. And so the best orgs of the future, I would call it still human first, AI powered, is they are leveraging AI to do everything before and after the calls to help them speed up and increase that percentage up from 25% to 40, 50, 60%. If we can get there, like 2 to 3x bump is, if you think about that, how many more deals people can work, the speed that you can do to get to market, et cetera. Because I really think about, like, in very simplest terms, from a sales role, a salesperson's perspective, there's kind of three buckets, right? There's time spent before a call, there's your calls, and then there's the time spent after the calls, right? Like that's your day as an AE. And it's the AI is incredible at the pre-call and the post-call. During the call, especially like mid-market enterprise type roles, I think there's something to be said for SMB and PLG kind of going more self-serve by way of AI sooner rather than later. But in a mid-market plus or enterprise environment, the humans are going to be there for the rest of our careers, to be sure, to like actually drive these transformational deals. But again, the speed, the time it takes to map your ICP, build out your TAM, figure out what are those target accounts you actually want to work over the next 30 to 45 days. Who are the actual contacts or personas we care about? What's our point of view? What's our messaging that we're going to use to stop these people in their tracks, whether it's a great prospecting email or on a cold call or figuring out the event strategy we want to do. All of that can be done at the speed of AI now. And then the post-call follow-up, like I said, the biggest pain in my old days used to be you would have these 60, 90-minute great calls with customers. And even if you had the early call recording software on there, that was great, but you still had to go back through and re-listen to the call and like write your email follow-ups. That can take an hour alone right there. Now that's done in 2 minutes. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So like you start to do that and you start to scale it out, like the improving that percent selling time for each rep. That's to me the number one metric that can be improved and should be looked at for every team.
Yeah, that is so great. It's crazy these statistics of like 75% of your day spending on non-sale activities. It's literally
It's crazy.
understanding that for us to make money, for a salesperson to actually sell, you gotta make sure you're doing activities that move the needle. And
Yeah.
it all starts, pre-call. You can use Dextego, learn everything about that company, understand where you need to be better for your next speech. Oh, I'm a person that I tend to talk too much. So remember to calm down, shut up, and listen. And
So
after
true.
the call, you can actually see what happened as well and actually improve it. So there are some new technologies. Dextego is great for being able to help salespeople be better at their job. So you guys can be your best. It's just a matter of inner fire and getting it done because all the information is there. And we just mentioned about a kind of AI characteristic capability that is not there yet. But what is that AI capability that is missing that you say every sales leader need to have this? It's not yet on the market, but it's going to
Hmm.
be a game changer for all of us.
Yeah. I don't know what we would call it yet, but there's a version of what I would think about as like a sales engineer plus founder on steroids turned into a live bot that sits on your calls with you. And maybe not the best name for it. We got to workshop that a little bit. But I think about, my whole background has been coming in early stage, helping founders graduate out of founder led selling and build the team and scale and open up new markets, all that kind of stuff. And the best thing and the worst thing about working with a founder is that they are the experts. They know everything about their product, their market. It's literally their baby, but they're one person. They can't scale. And so as you start to hire a team, and especially the more technical your product is, like salespeople of the future, I'm a firm believer, should absolutely have a decent amount of technical acumen and should be passionate about the technology they're selling and very curious and learning. But let's face it, we're not engineers by trade. We're not the ones actually building the product. So we're not going to know every last little spec of the tool. And so I think and like, depending on your product and where you sit in the market, what you sell, you may have sales engineers that join your calls and are doing demos and are, vibe coding new custom environments for your customers. It wasn't that long ago, 5, 6 years ago, maybe having a call recorder join your calls. Oh, that was creepy and weird. And you have to ask customers for consent. When the last time your customer actually cared about an AI bot showing up, right? So I think the next step is turning that AI bot into somebody that you can actually just have a live conversation with. Like you asked me a question about Data Lane, my current product. I'm a new rep. I don't know about our integration strategy yet, or how we handle deduplications in HubSpot, or just something very niche like that. Just rather than slacking one of my colleagues live and hoping they're around, or telling the customer I'll get back to you. boom, you have that AI bot that just jumps in and can actually speak to you in like a very human way. I don't think we're that far away from that. And it's not to say we're going to eliminate the SE role, because I think SEs are absolutely the superpowers for building out scalable, large transformational deals. But it's the 60 to 70% of their day now where they are, especially in large organizations where you have a lot of junior reps coming through. Just again, it's back to that speed to market, speed to knowledge, literally no excuse to not be an expert from day one, and just leveraging the AI tools that you have. So I think that's an SE of the future that is going to join us. Like I think that's not too far away.
Man, that's $1 billion idea. I have some companies in mind that doing some avatars. Just input that information of, the sense of
It's all there,
engineering
exactly.
knowledge. Yeah.
Like there's bots on the website. We've got AI everywhere these days, like turning it customer facing and live into, like who's the one? I forget the name of the company now, but like I know Brian Halligan, the founder of HubSpot, Jason Lemkin at SaaStr, like they've trained all of their writings from the last 10, 20 years and turned it into their own AI version. You can just go on their website and chat to them, and it feels like you're actually having a conversation with them. It's crazy good. Like same kind of thing, but for your own product and actually putting it in every customer call you have. I think that's going to be a really exciting advancement.
That's gonna be great, and it's not that far away. I guess in the next 5 years, you're gonna have something like that,
I think so,
and improved, not just the release, but the version 5.0.
for sure. Yeah.
And we're coming almost to the last questions. And now is when I was thinking about what made you decide to get involved with Dextego, and what gap did you see in the market that we are filling?
Yeah, I would say it's kind of similar to what I was just talking about of the future of an SE that's live with customers. I think there's this massive opportunity for coaching on every other environment, whether it's pre-call or post-call or new hires or advanced hires that want like just I'm a big passionate believer in coaching. That's something that again it's not just a hire new people, put them through a 1 week onboarding, send them to the field and say good luck. Like the best organizations know that coaching is a practice, it's a muscle you develop, it's never ending. Doesn't matter who you are, how long you've been selling your products, you can always get better, you can always learn more. And so again, it's hard to scale coaching from a human to human, one-to-one relationship. As your companies get bigger, things get complex, people are working across the country, across the world. AI is a great supplement for that to, again, take all the knowledge that you have amongst your company resources and turning an enablement type person into an AI bot that is just on 24/7, is smarter than anybody in your company, takes all the resources. And again, you can see the reps who are going to rise to the top. They see that opportunity to be like, oh my gosh, I've got my own personal trainer right here. I can do pre-call planning. I can do discovery role plays. I can ask it for feedback after the call. You watch 2 to 3 years from now, the reps who are consistently hitting Peak Club, when you ask them like what got them there, how they're successful, every single one of them is going to say that they're leveraging AI from a coaching and enablement perspective. And I think Dextego is right there, well positioned to help a ton of companies scale.
That is fantastic. It could not be more true. If you wanna be better, here's the solution. Dextego is there for you. And now for the last question, that is a little bit different. Imagine this is a desert island situation. You do have internet, but you're alone in a desert island. So let's call it Sales Desert Island. You can have 3 AI tools. What are you picking?
So do I have I'm still in a job, but I'm just in the desert.
Yeah, you can create a company, you can do whatever you want, but you are in a deserted island with internet,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
you can have
yeah.
access to the rest of the world. But what would you pick?
That's a good question. I mean, I feel like I spend more time with ChatGPT than anybody else these days. Probably go ChatGPT one from just a literally an AI thought partner where I'm asking it a zillion questions throughout the day. Probably Perplexity, I love for more advanced level research, market analysis, trends, different competitors, things like that. I'm in Perplexity all day long. And then, listen, I can't pass up the opportunity to plug Data Lane, my current company. We're the market leader as an AI platform for businesses selling into the local economy. We're changing the game on every vertical that we support. So those would be my three.
Oh, that is amazing. Thank you so much, Miles. Do you have any final remarks for everybody that is watching you?
No, thank you so much, Augusto, for the time. It was really great chatting.
Thank you so much for the time. And guys, you already know the future is human. So get out of that chair and start learning how to use Dextego, start learning how to use AI while keeping it human. Thank you very much and see you next month.